Namaskar. Welcome to another edition of Now We Must reading session, the podcast for the reading session. So today we are going to read two books. The first book that we will read is this book, A Bleeding India by Mr. Vinay Kumar Singh. He is a well-known journalist and he has written many books, very important books. This is quite interesting. This is published by Garuda Publications. Okay. We'll also try to get the author to come and talk to us in one of our book talk podcasts. But before that, I thought let's a very burning issue which is talked in the book as well of the Rohingya illegal Rohingyas who are living in India, okay, and what kind of security threat uh, they possess for India. So we thought let's talk about this. This is a national security issue, so uh, it needs to be talked about. And also, we also and with the Rohingya illegal immigration, you also have a issue of illegal voters, uneligible voters who are Bangladeshis and Rohingyas who are part of the process of elections and they are not supposed to be there. So you also know that there is a court case going on between West Bengal government and the union government on the issue of SIR, where the election commission is also a party to it. So we have a lot to talk about today. So anyway, let's just start the discussion. So we got delayed because actually we were preparing two presentations with the help of AI to actually give you what is happening now. So we have one presentation dedicated for the Rohingya issue, and another presentation relates to the uh, Rohingya issue because a lot of illegal immigration which happened, especially the Muslim Rohingyas, and how they have been found in the voter list in West Bengal, and how that is going to be a problem in terms of democracy in India and Bharat. So yes, so with that, let's just start the presentation. Okay. First of all, let's start the presentation on the issue of SIRs, which is happening. Let me see if I can get the. Okay, let me start the presentation, and also do let me know if you can hear my audio. If you're able to hear the audio, it's fine, or I will check it. Okay, so this is the first presentation that we have created for you. So actually, because in the now national news, we have. Let me see if I can. Yeah, that should be good enough. So let me increase the font a little bit. I think. Okay, this should be good enough. So this is what's happening now. The West Bengal security issue, so of illegal migration, and this book is also talks about the bleeding India, four aggressors and thousand cuts. So the existential crisis which India is now at this stage in terms of and illegal migration is one of the most core issues which actually harms the national security that we have now. So West Bengal Security 2026 Strategic Assessment of Illegal Immigration, Demographic Shift, and National Security Implications in West Bengal. So we need to focus on West Bengal because now we have elections coming up in West Bengal, and the illegal voters who are registered by fraudulent means, by uh, fake documents, fake Aadhaar cards, or fake PAN cards, which are issued to them by illegal entities, and now how that is going to cause an issue, a problem for the democracy and also for the national security in terms of installations of various kinds, including defense installations. So, so the state government and the union government. So the the West Bengal state, which is part of Indian Union, it has a border length of 2,216 kilometers. This is an estimate. The numbers could be quite high, but approx estimates say that there are 40,000 illegal Muslim Rohingyas are there, and primarily they have entered India through the West Bengal border as per March 31. And these are the districts. So West Bengal's border with Bangladesh is the most complex international border in India. Over 54% of the India's total border with Bangladesh is shared with this single state. Key security issues. So linguistic homogeneity allows illegal entrants to blend seamlessly into local population within hours of crossing. Elections. So voter list integrity. So Union versus ECI findings. Widespread abuse of Form 6 for new voter application in border zones. The border areas are very sensitive in terms of illegal immigration to India. Presence of demographically similar entities indicating systemic forged identity creation. So we have known from a lot of news reports, government agencies reporting, a lot of security agencies also reported that fake documentations have been issued, including Aadhaar card, including Ration cards, including including birth certificates. So we had and there you had issues where these documents have been used to actually get their names entered into the voter list. Now, for a functional democracy to work properly, we can only have a clear voter list where you do not have any illegal immigrants voting, and that distorts democracy. Failure of local panchayats. This also been reported quite heavily that in the border district, specifically in West Bengal, failure of local panchayats to verify residency status before issuing birth and domicile certificates is also being an issue right now. Argues that the ECI is being used to disenfranchise genuine linguistic and religious minorities. Now, these have been these, and the claim that Aadhaar card deletion is based on the tool of political intimidation. Now, these are the arguments of the state, but as we have seen, the Supreme Court has actually deployed its own judicial officers to actually make sure that this doesn't happen. But this does not negate that there are 40,000 illegal Rohingyas who have been given identity cards, identity documents by the panchayats and other local bodies, and they are all under West Bengal government. So, the state government, West Bengal government cannot negate their responsibility, culpability in this issue of illegal migrants. Border fencing is another major issue that is cause of national security, because a lot of terrorists, specifically Islamic terrorist groups, who are infiltrating and committing, and we have seen recently Bangladeshi people in New Delhi, Bangladeshi illegal Muslim immigrants were caught in New Delhi conspiring to terrorist acts, and almost as per the union government, also the agencies which are investigating, all these documents have been issued in West Bengal. So, and a porous border is a very major concern on this. So, and the union government has actually sought land from the West Bengal government, which was never given, to actually strengthen and fortify the border between Bangladesh and West Bengal, by which the maximum number of these Rohingya Muslim immigrants have entered illegally in India. So land acquisition, if you can see here, 74%, and this is a state government's responsibility, which they have not done yet. So you can see there are two things. One, you have a Sundarban Delta, which is a complex mangrove network, makes physical fencing impossible, but still There has to be border outposts which needs to monitor that thing, and also the Malda Ganges gap. Seasonal river shift change the actual border line, allowing infiltrators to drift across during monsoon. Security and terror. So let's see here. National security warning. Intelligence reports suggest that radicalized elements from the Rohingya community are being targeted by AQIS and JMB for recruitment. So we're going to talk about this in the book reading as well, and also in one more presentation we have for you, that we will be sharing it at the end of the reading session, to, just to give you a gist what's happening in terms of illegal migration and Rohingyas. So chronology of subversion: 2014, Bardhaman Hagongor blast. So evidence of JMB bomb making modules across West Bengal, and these are all, most of them are done by the illegal Rohingya migrants or the Bangladeshi illegal immigrants. 2017 to 21, Rohingya influx peak, estimated 40,000 entries via porous corridors. So 2024 and 25, ABT module busted, special task force arrest operative of Ansarullah Bangla team. Now these are all based on the other side of the border in Bangladesh, and the porous border between Bangladesh and India is a concern. New recruitment narrative, exploitation of NRC CA fears of radicalization. District map, so hotspots and vulnerability map. So what we have here is not 24 parganas. These are all red zones where voter infiltration, illegal Rohingyas and Bangladeshis are part of the voter list, which needs to be weeded out. In Malda, you have a problem of fake currency, fake Indian currency being smuggled from Bangladesh through the porous border. Kuch Bihar, and you also have Darjeeling, a transit hub. These are all borders districts where you have a border with Bangladesh. Nodia is struggling with cattle smuggling, and in the South 24 Parganas, you have riverine entities where people can come and come. We also have Murshidabad. I think a lot of people would be knowing about Murshidabad. There were communal clashes in Murshidabad recently, where Hindus had to flee their home and take refuge in other districts within West Bengal. And we know that BSF had to intervene to calm the situation. And you also have the Jalpaiguri narrow chicken snake, where the Bangladesh border is very near, and it's one of the most important national security issues which the government is dealing with. So this is what's happening in terms of illegal migration which is happening. And what we're going to do is, now we're going to read the book. So let me share the book details as well to the people who are watching this. And around 8 around 10:30 p.m, we're again going to read this book as well, Bangladesh, the plight of Hindus of Bangladesh. So we'll read a part of that as well, but let's start reading session for today. And after the reading session, we're going to have one more presentation being prepared, and that we will also, so this will be a gist of the presentation, the reading that we'll have now. So this is the book, Bleeding India: Four Aggressors, Thousand Cuts, written by Mr. Binay Kumar Singh, published by Garuda Books. And we will read the chapter called, this is the chapter, uh, Rohingyas, Problem, Disease, Transplantation, and ISI Conspiracy. What is the Rohingya issue? Is it a case of transplantation of the problem from Myanmar to India, where the persecuted minority uh, oh, actually, I had the puja done. Uh, no, no, that is actually I didn't did puja. So you would be putting kumkum here and there. Nothing. Namaste, Abhay. Uh, yeah. Where is the persecuted minority rhetoric has already worsened the problem. The history of Rohingyas. The Myanmar's jihadi scourge. The Myanmar's jihadi scourge is decades old, a legacy of British colonialism after all. It was the British who, more than a century ago, moved large numbers of Rohingyas from East Bengal to work on rubber and tea plantations in then Burma, which was administered as a province of India until tea plantations and then Burma, which was administered as a province of India until 1937. In the years before India gained independence from Britain in 1947, Rohingya militants joined the campaign to establish Pakistan as the first Islamic republic of the post colonial era. When the British, who had mastered the art of divide and rule, decided to establish two separate flanks of Pakistan on either side of India, the Rohingyas launched a campaign to drive out Buddhists from. Now, this is the history of Rohingyas. Correct. Rohingyas are primarily Muslims, but people who do not know, within Rohingya community, the ethnic group Rohingyas, there is also a Hindu minority within the Rohingyas. But in general, the Rohingyas are primarily, majoritarily Muslim Rohingyas. The Rohingyas launched a campaign to drive out Buddhists from Muslim dominated Mayu Peninsula in northern Rakhine. So, Rakhine is a state within Myanmar. They wanted the Mayu Peninsula to secede and be annexed by East Pakistan, later Bangladesh. Subsequently, the gambit to secede Mayu Peninsula failed and gave rise to a self-declared jihad by Rohingyas. Now, so when we are talking about why Rohingyas are a threat to national security, national integrity, and they have primarily come to the India via the porous West Bengal border, we have to see the history of Rohingyas. The Rohingya Muslims were the primary who were actually trying to secede from Myanmar and join Bangladesh, as Bangladesh and East Pakistan was a Muslim majority state, and they wanted to actually join Bangladesh or East Pakistan as it was there, gave rise to self-declared jihad by Rohingyas. Local Mujahideen began to organize attacks on government troops and seize control of large areas in northern Rakhine, establishing a sort of Islamic caliphate. Now, why Rohingyas are a threat? Because of their history. So they were one of the first establishing a sort of Islamic caliphate. However, just after months of gaining independence in 1948, martial law was declared in Myanmar and government forces regained control of the lost territories by early 1950s. Rohingya Islamist militancy continued to thrive, with Mujahideen attacks occurring intermittently. In 2012, fierce clashes broke out between Rohingyas and the ethnic Rakhines, who feared becoming a minority in their home state. The rape and murder of young Buddhist women sparked a chain of events. The sectarian violence that followed aided the Rohingya militancy to mushroom into a full blown insurgency, with rebels launching guerrilla attacks on security forces. Rohingyas activities in India. Seeking refuge is not only motto of Rohingyas in India. There are several incidents which make the presence of Rohingyas in India questionable. According to arrested Simi and Indian Mujahideen terrorist Umar Siddiq and Haider Ali, the terror attack on Mahabodhi temple in Bodh Gaya on July 7, 2013 was directed at international Buddhist tourists to avenge the so-called atrocities on Rohingya Muslims in Myanmar. It was the same group that had planned the assassination of Narendra Modi. The, now, very important, if you can see this, why Muslim Rohingyas are a national security threat. This line is very important. It was the same group that had planned the assassination. Who? The Rohingyas. It was the same group which planned the assassination of Narendra Modi, the then Chief Minister of Gujarat, at a rally in Gandhi Maidan, Patna, on October 27, 2013. Six persons died and around 100 others were injured in the incident. It was a rally attended by lakhs, and even if terrorists had managed to create stampede like situation, many more lives could have been lost. In April 2018, Samayun Rahman, a 28-year-old British Rohingya terror suspect serving Al Qaeda in Syria, was sent to India to recruit and mobilize youth to fight for the Rohingyas. The NIA, in its charge sheet against Rahman, mentions that it was a plot by the Al Qaeda. It was plot by the Al Qaeda against India. Rahman was found to have connections. Now, this is very important to note. It was plot by the Al Qaeda against India. Rahman was found to have connections in West Bengal, Jharkhand, Delhi, and many other states. In September 2017, Delhi police received information that a person named Raju Bhai was planning terror activities. Later, it was disclosed that Raju Bhai was none other than Rahman. Now, how he became Raju Bhai? Because of the fake documents issued to these Muslim Rohingyas in West Bengal border districts by the organizations, by the government, by administrations in those regions, and attached with the Al Nusra Front in Syria. Rahman had received arms training, was in touch with Al Qaeda, and had fought against the Syrian army. In August 2019, police picked up three members from Rohingya Muslim community for questioning after rupees 30 lakh was recovered from them. The cash was found at a jhuggi in the Chennai Himmat area in the Chennai Himmat area of Jammu city. How the Rohingyas were able to travel from the West Bengal border to Jammu city. Investigations have shown that the money belonged to two Bangladeshi nationals, Ismail and Noor Alam. Both were living in Jammu for the past 6 years without any valid document. It was also revealed during the investigation that the money was parked for some treacherous activities. There is an organic link between Rohingya and jihadist terror groups in Pakistan that go back a few decades. Now, this line is very important to know. There is an organic link between Rohingya and jihadist terror groups in Pakistan that go back a few decades. Why the Rohingyas are a national threat, national security threat to India because of this. Allowing as a Rohingyas a place in India will constitute a severe threat to the national security. Many Rohingyas were part of the jihad against the erstwhile Soviet Union in Afghanistan and had later participated in jihadist actions in Kashmir. A large number of them also went back to Bangladesh. It formed a nucleus of the jihadist organizations that struck roots in Bangladesh during the regime of General Irshad. People who may not be aware of, General Irshad was a military dictator in Bangladesh, and he was quite radical Islamist. A lot of Islamization of Bangladesh was happened in his tenure as a dictator, as a military dictator, and later Begum Khalida Zia. Using Bangladesh as a base, they have established links with Indian jihadists and also carried out actions inside Myanmar. Bertil Lintner. Bertil Lintner, a Swedish journalist who has been covering Myanmar and Asia for more than 3 decades, has stated that the Rohingyas, Muslim militant group in Myanmar, called called the Arakan Rohingya Salvation Army. They are called ARSA, ARSA. The full name is Arakan Rohingya Salvation Army, previously known as uh, Harak al-Yaqin faith movement, was responsible for attacks on 30 police posts and an army base in northern Rakhine state in August of 2017. It was further stated that the ARSA had connections with foreign extremist groups, even though there has been blanket denial from the latter. This dreaded terrorist group in Myanmar claims to be fighting for the right of the self determination, like the other terrorist groups who were killing people on similar pretext in Kashmir for decades. The format of Kashmir insurgency and the Myanmar terrorist group have much in common, including a standard backup, like ISI and handlers like Hafiz Saeed. There were instances of Rohingya terrorists fighting in Kashmir and later killed in action by the Indian forces. The ARSA had claimed its attack were part of a campaign to achieve fundamental human rights for self-identifying Rohingya Muslims living in Rakhine state. In the truth behind Myanmar's, in the talking about the book in The Truth Behind Myanmar's Rohingya Insurgency, published in the Hong Kong based Asia Times, dated September 20, 2017, Lindler cited intelligence analysts declaring the group's mentor to be one. Okay, so Rohingyas in Karachi, Pakistan, cited intelligence analysts declaring group's mentor to be one Karachi-based Abdul uh, Abdus Kadus Burmi, a Pakistani Rohingya descendant. He has appeared in videos that were broadcast on social media calling for jihad in Myanmar. According to Lindner's article, Abdus Qaddus has well documented links to Lashkar-e-Toiba, or the Army of the Righteous, one of South Asia's largest Islamic terrorist organizations that operate out of Pakistan. The group was founded in 1987 in Afghanistan with funding from now deceased Al Qaeda founder Osama bin Laden. Abdus Qaddus has even appeared in meetings with Lashkar-e-Toiba Supremo Hafiz Muhammad Saeed. The article describes the group's leader as Ataullah Amar Jun- uh, Ataullah Abu Amar Junjuni, also known as Hafiz Tohar, as having been born in Karachi and having received madrasa education in Saudi Arabia. Lintner highlights Arsa's second-ranking leader, a shadowy man known only as Shari, who comes from Chittagong in southern Bangladesh and does not appear in any of the group's propaganda videos. He reportedly speaks with an Urdu language accent, the official language of Pakistan. Security analysts note 150 foreigners in the Arsa ranks. Okay, interesting. According to Asia Times story, there are angry and desperate young men. Most of them are from Bangladesh. 8 to 10 come from Pakistan, with smaller groups from Indonesia, Malaysia, and southern Thailand. Two are reportedly two are reportedly from Uzbekistan. Training held in the Myanmar-Bangladesh border areas have been carried out in part by older veterans of the Afghan wars. The security analysts say, Asia Times 2017. Massacre of Hindus in Myanmar. Now, that's very interesting. In a report published by Amnesty International in January 2020, it mentions a brutal massacre by the ARSA, the Rohingya terrorist group, of around 100 Hindus in Myanmar's Rakhine state in 2017. The report provides first hand accounts of the survivors from a Hindu village called Ah Na Kha, Ah Now Khao Mang Sek. On August 25, 2017, at around 8 a.m., armed men dressed in black and local Rohingya dressed in black and local Rohingya villages in plain clothes rounded up dozens of Hindu women, men, and children in the village. They robbed, bound, and blindfolded them before marching them to the outskirts of the town, where they separated men from women and young children. A few hours later, Arsa fighters executed 53 Hindu villagers, starting with the men. Eight Hindu women and eight of the children were spared after Arsa fighters forced them to convert to Islam and flee with the militants to Bangladesh. So this is your Rohingyas and what they have done to Hindus in Myanmar. Rajkumari, an 18-year-old girl who survived the massacre, says, "They slaughtered the men. We were told not to look at them. They had knives. They also had some spades and iron rods. We hid ourselves in the shrubs there and were able to see a little. My uncle, my father, my brother, they were all slaughtered." Another survivor named uh, Formula, a 20-year-old girl, said that as she and other seven abducted women were being marched away, she turned back and she turned back and saw Arsa fighters kill other women and children. The same day, all of the 46 Hindu men, women, and children in the neighboring village of Yebakyar disappeared, presumed killed by the same Arsa fighters. The bodies of 45 people from Ahna Kha Mak Sek were unearthed in four mass graves in late September 2017. The remains of the rest of the victims from that village, as well as those of 47 victims from Yebukor, have not been found. Probably they were disposed of or in some mass graves. On August 26, 2017, ARSA members killed six more Hindus, including three children, and injured another woman on the outskirts of Muangdao town near Mayot Gai village. Kormorla, a 25 Kormorla, a 25-year-old girl who survived the attack while her husband and 5-year-old daughter were both killed, says, "The people who shot us were dressed in black. I couldn't see their faces, only their eyes. They had long guns and swords. My husband was shot next to me. I was shot in the chest. After that, I was barely conscious." Despite such brutality, the Amnesty in its report criticizes the Myanmar army for, for an alleged brutal response to these killings. Rakhine State, where most of Myanmar's Rohingyas reside, is attracting jihadis from far and wide. Local militants are suspected to have having ties with Islamic State, Al Qaeda, and other terrorist organizations. Moreover, they increasingly received aid from militant-linked organizations in Saudi Arabia and Pakistan. The leading insurgent group Arsa is led by a Saudi-based committee of Rohingya immigrants. The external forces for fomenting insurgent attacks in Rakhine bear considerable responsibility for the Rohingyas' current plight. It is the link between Rohingya militants and such external forces, especially terrorist organizations like ISIS, that have driven concerned governments to declare that their entry poses a severe security threat. Even Bangladesh acknowledges Rohingya militants' external jihadi connections. The Rohingyas as a community along with eastern border pose a severe security threat not only to the state of Assam and other northeastern states, but also have considerable security implications for the neighboring Bangladesh as well. The security agencies have warned Union government that Pakistan's intelligence agencies may try to exploit Rohingyas to support jihad, and thereby Rohingyas can create trouble in the sensitive areas of Assam, which had faced violent clashes a few years back due to large-scale illegal immigration Amnesty International UK to 2020. This is the picture. Let me, if I can show it to you. So this is the picture of the one of the Rohingya leaders, which is there in the book itself. Ataul Abu Amar Junani, leader of the Arakan Rohingya Salvation Army. Reports published in the Economic Times by Dipanjan Roy Chaudhary, dated 12 July 2018, provides a clear picture of direct lineage and linkage of the Rohingya terror outfits with Pakistan-based ISI and other terror groups. It explains it explains the Rohingyas' international connections in great detail. Rohingyas ISI connection. A little known Rohingya terror group named uh, Akamul Mujahideen AMM, blamed for attacks on Myanmar border outposts in the year 2015, not only maintained links with Hafiz Saeed's Lashkar-e-Toiba LET, but also developed connections with the Jaish-e-Mohammed JEM cell in Jammu and Kashmir. Persons familiar with the group and its activities claim that the AMM leaders were trained in Pakistan and later recruited Rohingya youth in the Rakhine region of the Myanmar. The AMM is a new armed group that originated from the Harkatul Jihad Islami Arakan, Huji. There were reports of Rohingya terrorists fighting alongside Pakistani extremists in Kashmir. One of their top leaders, Chota Burmi, was killed in Kashmir along with JEM commander Adil Pathan in 2015. Earlier, Burmi allegedly shared the dais with Hafiz Saeed in Pakistan. It is understood that security agencies in India, Bangladesh, and Myanmar are coordinating their actions against Rohingya terror groups. It is claimed that current Fuji chief Abdus Qaddus Burmi recruited one Hafiz Tohar from Muangdao in Myanmar. Tohar is now said to be heading the AMM, and Qaddus Burmi is reported to be close to Said. Said's other terror group, Jamaatul Dawa (JUD's) humanitarian arm, Falahe Insaniyat Foundation (FIF), was active in Rohingya relief camps in Rakhine State after the 2012 riots. According to government sources in Dhaka, Qaddus Burmi also developed the Huji network in Bangladesh, using the remote hills along its border with Myanmar. It may be recalled that JUD launched the Faye Musalmane Arakan Conference in Pakistan to highlight the Rohingya cause in 2012. Subsequently, two major JUD operatives, Shahid Mahmood and Awan, allegedly established direct contacts with Rohingya extremists based in camps along the Bangladesh-Myanmar border. In 2012, Bangladesh authorities arrested Maulana Shabir Ahmed, a Pakistan-based Rohingya operative who revealed that he was coordinating with Rohingya terrorists in Bangladesh on behalf of JEM. Bangladesh authorities have not ruled out the fact that Rohingya armed groups may have close links with Bangladesh homegrown terrorists and could share hideouts, finances, and sources of weapon supply. Pakistan linked Rohingya terror groups have also allegedly been noticed in Mysore area on the Thai side of the Thai Myanmar border. The Economic Times. The history of Bangladesh is replete with Huji's violent campaigns against the pro-democratic and secular Awami League political party and political party and other civil society members. The leaders who have the Sunni Hanafi Deobandi militant movement in Bangladesh, such as Mufti Hanan Sheikh Farid and Maulana Abdus Salam, guided both covert and overt actions of the group in Bangladesh and beyond, especially in neighboring Myanmar, where both Huji A and Huji B were active. Much like much like morphing of organizations into newer setups to hoodwink the authorities like SIMI, NDF, and PFI discussed in earlier, Fujibi, much before it was banned in Bangladesh, had morphed into Islami Dawate Khilafa in March 1999, evade scrutiny. Again in 2004, Fujibi changed its name into Islami Gano Andolon Bangladesh IGAB. Finally, Fujibi in all its formations was banned by US State Department in February 2008. When the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Myanmar State Councillor Aung San Suu Kyi decided to broaden the bilateral security and counter-terrorism partnership, the drivers were New Delhi's concerns over ISI infiltration into the ranks of Rohingyas and Yangon's fight against Rakhine terrorists. India and Bangladesh, through their joint counter-terror cooperation, have recently discovered that the ISI had allegedly played a key role in mastering a terror attack in Myanmar's Rakhine state ahead of Prime Minister Modi's visit. India, Bangladesh, Myanmar may now move toward trilateral information sharing mechanism to counter this threat in the region. This is happening in 2008 to 2014 onwards. India and Bangladesh recently discovered that Hafiz Tohar, the military chief of ARSA, has been maintaining close links with Pakistan's ISI and spy agency, may have played a vital role in the terror attacks that killed several members of Myanmar's army. Phone calls between Tohar and ISI discussing detailed attack plans have been intercepted in the last week of August 2018. Hafiz Tohar set up the Akamul Akamul Mujahideen AMM and was trained in Pakistan by the Lashkar-e-Toiba, which was named by the BRICS nations for the first time in the July 2018 summit. Tohar is widely believed to be behind the deadly attack on Myanmar security forces in October 2016 and on August 25, 2017. After training of a new initial AAMM recruits in Pakistan, new cadre members were recruited from among the Rohingyas youth in Rakhine State and at refugee camps in Bangladesh's Cox's Bazar. They were then trained in camps set up on the Bangladesh-Myanmar border, especially one at Chittagong Hill tracks of Bangladesh. According to experts following this development closely, Brigadier Ashfaq and Major Salamat, two alleged ISI operatives, have been mentoring AMM and assisting this group in developing close links with JMB, Jamaatul Mujahideen Bangladesh. According to Litter, the ISI brigadier also allegedly maintains close relationship with Bangladesh's opposition party BNP, Bangladesh Nationalist Party. In this context, India and Myanmar have decided to step up counter-terror cooperation and information sharing. The joint statement issued after Modi-Suki dialogue said both sides agreed that the fight against terrorism should hold accountable and take active measures against states and entities that encourage, support, or finance terrorism. The Quadriga facilitating Rohingyas in India. Having looked at Rohingya terror links with the who's and who's of world terrorism scene, we now take a look at how Rohingyas have fared in India. True to their script of the Quadriga, they have been portrayed as victims, refugees, persecuted, etc. And the Indian government's response is typically portrayed as brutal and unconstitutional. For that matter, constitution itself has been interpreted to suit their definitions or reading of the case. The civil society and human rights NGOs and gang of so-called activists and urban naxals who ran helter-skelter for rescuing a terrorist are trying hard to portray Rohingyas as victims. The Quadriga gang propagated propagated the propagated that the deportation of Rohingyas from India is a contrary to the constitutional protection provided in Article 14, 21, and 51C of the Constitution of India, which provided equal rights and liberty to every person, and they claim this would also be in contradiction with the principles of uh, refoulement non-refoulement, which prohibits the deportation of refugees to a country where they face a threat to their life, which has been widely recognized as the principle of customary international law. Further, the argument goes that India has ratified and is a signatory of various conventions that underline the principles of non-refoulement. In reality, the facts prove these premises and arguments wrong and baseless. The first premise is that around 40,000 Rohingyas or more have taken refuge in India. This is patently false, and because none of them have entered Indian territory by law. Now, this is very important. The first premise is that around 40,000 Rohingyas or more have taken refuge in India. This is patently false because none of them have entered the Indian territory by law. Every single one of them has entered clandestinely, dodging the eyes of the law, and are now seeking equity. They have entered India through human trafficking networks that operate in tandem with all the force inimical to country. It emanates as a conspiracy at the highest levels. In 2016, the UNHRC, United Nations High Commission for Refugees in India, granted refugee I cards to Rohingyas. The Quadriga tries to convince that the identity cards do not in any manner supersede Indian laws. Many activists, journalists, and lawyers who are part of this Quadriga gang supporting permanent stay of the Rohingyas in India quote these illegal UNHRC refugees I cards for validating their legality. Whereas the reality is that no foreign agency is entitled to issue any kind of document or I card related to citizenship or refugees status in India. It is outrageous that on Indian soil, it is not the Indian government but an outside agency that is seeking to determine the status of illegal immigrants. Sovereignty, sovereignty to this extent has never been ceded by India so as to empower any outside agency to determine who our refugees are and who are not. The sole discretion lies with the central government. Parliament has not enacted any law about refugees from Myanmar. The argument that deportation would also be in contradiction with the principle of non-refoulement, a widely recognized principle of customary international law, is also absolutely wrong, as the policy of non-refoulement is not part of customary international law. The argument that India has ratified and is signatory to various conventions that recognize the principle of non-refoulement is factually incorrect. The principle of non-refoulement is rooted in the 1951 Refugee Conventions that has not been signed or ratified by India. Lord Denning, an English jurist known as People's Judge who died in 1999 at the age of 100, in his book, The Due Process of Law, has written an introduction to Part 5, Entrances and Exits, and the opening paragraph of thereof reads as under. In recent times, England has been invaded In recent times, England has been invaded not by enemies nor by friends, but by those who seek England as a haven. In their own countries, there are poverty, disease, and no hope. In England, there is social security, national health service, and guaranteed housing, all to be had for the asking without payment, without working for it. Once here, it seeks to bring his relative to join him, so they multiply exceedingly. Article 370 of the Constitution, till very recently, imposed many restrictions on non domiciled people from staying in the erstwhile state of Jammu and Kashmir. While the rest of India was not allowed to stay in the state of Jammu and Kashmir, they illegally the illegally immigrated Rohingyas community was permitted to settle near the sensitive Pakistan border. Very interesting. The challenge posed before India by the Rohingya is akin to one posed by invaders. Those who deliberately chose to pay no respect to the authorities or the laws and clandestinely entered Indian soil, that they now seek protection under same Indian constitution is part of the threat and not the solution. It is quite similar to what is happening in European nations. Many of them, like France, Germany, Belgium, and Britain, have witnessed these kinds of entries, where the entrant gets in by and large illegally, has no respect for the authority laws of the new country, while wanting all sorts of protection for themselves. In India, the illegal Bangladeshi Muslim immigrants have posed similar problems. For instance, increasing attacks by refugees have become the order of the day. The fact remains that illegal Rohingyas are not refugees. They must be seen as aggressors, invaders. Further, it should be matter of great concern that they have settled in the most strategic locations of the country like Jammu and Kashmir, Hyderabad and Delhi. And these all had happened states where you had rules ruled by non-BJP states, including in Delhi. Rohingyas and Chakmas are not the same. The Quadriga efforts to liken the Rohingya issue with that of Chakma refugees was, was also ill conceived. The two cases are different and on several counts. While the Chakmas never jeopardized India's relations with any friendly country, Rohingyas do. While Chakmas never ran a terrorist organization, Rohingyas do run ARSA. While the Chakmas were relatively peaceful people, Rohingyas are not. Rohingyas are an indigenous ethnic group belonging to the state of Myanmar, unlike the Chakma refugees who were found to be persons of Indian origin. The lack of any discernible connection to the Union of India on the part of the Rohingyas makes this case completely different from that of the Chakma refugees. The connection of Rohingyas with ISI, facilitation by radical Islamist groups, PFI, and PFI's coordination with communist groups, the the communist cordiality with the Christian missionaries, and overall the backup and the cover up by particular set of journalists and human rights organizations makes it perfect recipe for the Quadriga gang. So this is a chapter on the Rohingyas and how the Rohingya Muslim refugees are a national security threat and they have spread across the country. Now I am going to share one more. Let me see if I can get that. Okay, now let me share the presentation that I had created uh, for the chapter that we have read. So this chapter I have tried to facilitate as a presentation. So this is the book Bleeding India, Bleeding India by Thousand Cuts, and the chapter that we have read. So now this is where we start now. Militancy and leadership hierarchy. So rise of ARSA. Correct? We all had talked about ARSA, the Arakan Rohingya Salvation Army, which is a terrorist group. So it is led by Saudi-based committee in Saudi Arabia, and at the helm is Ataul Abu Amr Junjani, also known as Hafiz Tohar. He is in Karachi. So why we say that they are a national security threat? Because the connections of the Rohingyas with the terrorist groups, with ISI, an arch enemy, and they are funded by Pakistan, which is also a major concern. And we also talked about 2017 massacre of Hindus done by the Rohingya Muslims. They slaughtered men. So on August 25, 2017, around 8 a.m., the Rohingya Muslim terrorists were actually slaughtered the Hindu women, children, and men. And this is the two survivors who gave their testimonies. So this is what we are going to face. So this Quadriga, what is Quadriga gang? So Quadriga gang is, it's they are called activists, journalists, human rights NGOs, collectively referred as Quadriga gang, and they are the supporters of these Rohingya terrorists, okay, who are doing a lot of anti-India activities in connection with terrorist groups in Pakistan, terrorist groups in Bangladesh, and also groups in Myanmar. So the legal debate under sovereignty reputation. So the activists, the Quadriga say that okay, India cannot refuse its refugees, but legally India is not bound to accept them, and they have their own sovereignty to make sure that these people who are a threat to security of India needs to be deported back to their own lands where they are. So where they are settled, it's very important. J&K, they are settled near sensitive borders in Hyderabad, the strategic hub, and Delhi. So why Rohingyas are a national security threat? Because these all states, they have been settled, and it is a real concern in terms of security. And people who are watching this, yes, absolutely right. You are right. So now let's come to our conclusion of this reading session. It was quite fast, but we will be back around 10:30 p.m. again to read this book, Bangladeshi Hindu Bangladesh. It's going to be a Bengali reading session where we're going to read the massacre of Bengali Hindus in Bangladesh in 2001, where the BNP government was won elections. So we're going to talk about this because there is a connection of massacres which has happened 71 2001 and what will happen in the coming BNP government which is happening there. So we'll read this in Bengali. So do join us around that, around 10:30 p.m. in India time for the Bengali session, and we're going to continue our reading sessions. We're also going to cover the West Bengal elections. I'm prepping a few podcasts on that as well. So do join us for our English, Hindi, and Bengali broadcast reading sessions. And the voting is there. So why we read this book? This book we have read because the illegal voter registration is a very important issue for India, for West Bengal, and the future of West Bengal. And Rohingyas and Bangladeshi Rohingyas are a very intrinsically linked to this. The terror, the demographic change which has happened. So these are there. So we will talk about these more in our coming podcast reading sessions. So do support us, share our channel, subscribe to our channel, and help us if you can financially by becoming members by doing the scanning the QR code. So we see you in 1 hour. Namaste, Jai Shri Ram, Vande Mataram.